Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Arts at EPCC. My name is Dr. Yasmin Flores, and I am here with one of my former students who's still a music major at EPCC, Miss Nereida Rueda. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, and yourself?
I'm doing good. I am so glad that you're able to join me on the show today. And all of you have been so terrific and polite and wonderful. And yesterday I was like, wait a minute. I know of a couple of students that would be perfect. And so I have you that I'm interviewing today, and then a little later, Christian Portillo, who you play next to in orchestra, right? So let's talk about your kind of your past and what brought you to EPCC. How long have you been playing the cello?
I want to say like at least 6-7 years.
Okay,
yeah.
6 or 7 years. And so you started when you were what, 12 or so?
When I was 11 years old.
Wow, that's awesome. And what middle school or what elementary school was that?
I was in Sanchez Middle School.
Okay, Sanchez Middle School, wonderful. And that's a feeder into, what's the high school?
Socorro.
Socorro. Okay, awesome. All right, so you went to Socorro High School.
Yes.
Wonderful. And who was your director there?
Miss Ramirez.
Miss Ramirez, okay. So you started practicing the cello, and you loved it so much. At what point did you decide to become a music major?
I always knew since I was in middle school.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Yeah. So you just loved it so much.
Yes.
That's really great. So you get to EPCC, and of course you're in Dr. Vasquez's orchestra. And you started music theory. That's how I know you. Music Theory 1. That's how I meet all the music majors. And sight singing. And you're now in your third semester.
Yes.
Right? Wow. So what is the plan, Ms. Rueda?
Well, I plan on going for my next semester until May so I could graduate with my associates. And then I'm planning on transferring to UTEP so I can major in music education.
Wonderful, that's awesome. So what grade levels are you looking at teaching?
Probably elementary, middle school.
Okay, the little ones.
Yeah.
How cute. I can see that. You have a patience about you that I could definitely see. I could not. I couldn't. You know, when I was young, I could. When I was young, I did enjoy working with, I think maybe I'm just closer to their age at that point.
Yeah.
Right? But then the older I got, I was like, oh no, I can't. That 12, 13, 14 starts to get a little too young for me. But so you're planning on becoming a music educator in the state of Texas. You're looking at UTEP. And so you're getting ready for auditions very soon.
Yes.
Awesome. What are you going to play?
I'm going to play the Allemande by Bach and the Quartet.
Oh, nice. Yes. Is this from the Bach cello suites?
Yes.
How cool is that? You know what, now that you remind me, I heard you the other day practicing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I teach in that corner practice room, right? And I did hear somebody, I was like, oh, Alina's got somebody practicing. So you have Dr. Vasquez not only as your orchestra director, but you also have as your private lesson, right? The applied. And so what were the first few lessons like? Was this the first time you'd ever taken applied lessons?
Yes, I've never taken private lessons until I came to college. And the first lessons were pretty hard because since I never had a private teacher, like it was pretty hard. So she started me off with some easy pieces. Like I remember the first one was a C major, like sonata by Bravo.
Okay.
So it was pretty easy, but then I started my way up. And,
good. Yeah. And you have. And I'm so happy to see you and to watch you progress through the semesters because I do remember that piece. I distinctly remember you performing that. I was there for that. And just to let everybody know, let's start to kind of help fill in some of the holes because everybody's going like, what? Okay. So our music majors are required to take an ensemble. So her ensemble is orchestra. And then they're required to take applied lessons, and her chosen instrument is the cello. So you take cello applied lessons with Dr. Vasquez, And basically, what do you do in that class?
We usually play our scales and arpeggios. Right now, I'm already done with all my major scales, so I'm working on my minor scales.
Good.
And then we work on etudes to help us with our pieces, and then we work on the pieces that we're going to perform for departmental.
Wonderful. That's really awesome. Very good. So yes, you just listed all the things. For string players, of course, all players need to learn the scales and arpeggios, right? Bowings, I would imagine that you talk about bowings.
Oh, yeah.
You talk about different articulations, right? And how to approach that with the bow. And I'm thinking from a woodwind standpoint, but your whole approach to articulation has nothing to do with the tongue, like it does for us. It's all with the bow. And so then orchestra. So the orchestra's growing, by the way. Yeah, I'm so happy to see that.
Yeah, me too.
It brings me so much joy because I'll tell you a funny story. When I first started EPCC, the orchestra was handed off to me. You don't know that one. That's a very funny story.
Oh,
I know.
How did it go?
It was an experience for all involved. So what happens, and just to kind of give everybody an idea, El Paso Community College offers currently the AA in music, and that is 4 semesters of an ensemble, 4 semesters of the applied lessons, 4 semesters of theory, 4 semesters of sight singing, and you're like so glad to almost be done with all of that, right? And so within all of that, we have our ensembles, and our ensembles are open to whoever wants to take. It's all of our classes are essentially open. The only thing is with the more advanced classes like Theory 2, etc., we require the first course, right?
Yeah.
So with the ensembles, because it is an open door, we get people with varying levels of ability,
that's true.
right? And so with that, the particular semester I taught, which was quite a few years ago now, it was like I had some folks that really needed me to help them with bowings.
Oh, okay.
And I had them and technique. As you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I was just kind of looking at him like, okay. So I had to pull in Mr. Castañeda, helped me with a lot of that. And Mr. Castañeda, who's still around, still teaching violin, for those of you out there wondering, who teaches the upper strings, right? Renee is still here with us, and Alina handles the cello, and then we have Ian Narlock, who teaches double bass, and so one of our students, Noah, takes double bass with Mr. Narlock. And Ian is fantastic. I've really enjoyed watching his students. So that's where we were. That was and it was about 4 or 5 people in the orchestra at the time. And so now it's grown. Yeah. And that's great. And I heard your wonderful concert the other day. I was just so excited. And you're doing the literature, which I appreciated. You're doing the actual orchestral literature. It's not arrangements. It's not like, you know what I mean? Variations on Mary Had a Little Lamb. It's like legit, it's actual literature. And so I want to advertise that because it's something that we've worked very hard to get to that point. Yeah. Sadly, when you all graduate, we hope to replenish the pool, right? Again. Isn't it? Yeah. And so that's the case with the orchestra. And so tell me a little bit. Does Dr. Vasquez choose the literature, or do you all have any input?
Yeah, she does choose it. She does tell us, like, if you guys want to send us any pieces, we can, but none of us have given her any pieces, so she chooses.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
I enjoyed, what was it? Was it Arvo Part that you all played last semester? It used to be on the Diamond commercial, the piece from the Diamond commercial. And I cannot remember now who it is, but my head is telling me Arvo Part. And it's the original story to that. It was written for something specific, but then the composer was asked to expand on it.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's one of the pieces you all did last semester, and you did such a beautiful job with it too. And so, what is your favorite part about orchestra?
Well, I really like that I get to play every single day, and then that I get to play with my stand partner.
Yeah.
And
Is that Christian?
Yes, Christian.
Okay.
And I feel like I've gotten better because I have a lot of help with my stand partners, and they help me get new fingerings, and I learn more.
Right, right. So for those people that are not musicians at home, let's talk a little bit about the drama that goes on, because there was some drama last semester, and it cracked me up because it's been many moons since I've sat in band, right? But there's drama in every ensemble, and this was that the violins wanted you all to play faster, or some funny thing that just cracked me up, because I had you all back to back. So I had the Theory 2 or Theory 1 students and then Theory 2 students. And it cracked me up because I was hearing it from them, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, I can't believe, they were telling us blah, blah, blah. And it made me laugh. I was like, these kids are so darling. So a little bit of drama, but drama's always good because it pushes everybody to work harder, right?
Yes, it does.
It basically, the people that are sitting opposite of you are setting expectations. Yeah.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yes.
You have expectations of the people sitting across from you. So that puts pressure on everybody. I like it. I'll take it. Now, music theory, tell everybody about your experience.
Okay, well, music theory 1 was my worst.
Okay.
So, because it was not your fault.
Oh.
Yeah. It was because I didn't take any music theory classes. I've never taken them. So when I got there, it was really difficult for me. And then music theory 2 started getting way much better. I finally started understanding, and now I think it's going really well. I feel like I'm understanding so much more.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you touched on something that I will kind of expand on, which is a lot of our students come in new.
Yeah.
Totally new. And at least you played the cello, right? You had your instrument to lean on. And so you understood the concept, the principle of a scale. You understood the principle of an arpeggio, right? Some students, we get them fresh. And so they don't even understand do, re, mi, right? Yeah. And so and again, it's an open door, right? Anybody can major in music at El Paso Community College. So we get some folks sometimes that are very green, as we put it, right? And so they'll come in and we hit the ground running. Like that, those first couple of weeks, it's like, okay, here's your circle of fifths, here's your scale, this is the way it's built, whole steps, half steps. And it's so much information, as you're pointing out, in that first semester. A lot of students get overwhelmed. And so what is your advice to those students now that you've survived, right? You've made it out of Theory 1.
Well, what I do is that I do the inquisitives, and then I take Cornell notes. I don't know if you know what they are. It's like a little question section, which is I write down the questions that the inquisitive asks me, and then I write down the answers. So then I study that, and I keep practicing on the inquisitives, and then I go to office hours. I mean, I would go to office hours a lot with you.
Okay.
And then I would go to office hours a lot with Dr. Vasquez, and I think it really helps me, and the instructors are going to be there to help you.
Right, exactly. And yes, I'm hoping next semester that I'm a little less busy because my office hours have been consumed with other things. And so I do have students come by and they do ask me questions. Usually I have little worksheets that I give them I have some nice little children's music books that I like to pull things out of, and I go, okay, this is going to break it down further than the book does, right? But you hit on something that is rare in a lot of students. I do the work on time and I take notes. That's an old school concept. That's from my generation. That's before my generation. Let's take notes. Let's pay attention and take notes. And nowadays, I think it's so funny because I make songs for everything. You know this. And so I had to make a little song like, pick up your pencil, write notes down, pick up your pencil, write, you know, because I don't know, maybe I'm so engaging, maybe I'm so entertaining that they completely forget that they're in class. They should be writing stuff down. And so I do have to kind of tell them, like, all right, folks, listen, I need you to know this, right? And so you're an ideal student, you know, in that respect, that I don't have to look for new ways of approaching you and trying to get the information into your head. You know how to study. When did you learn how to study?
Well, I think since middle school, like like 7th grade, and also because I was in AP classes, and they started teaching us ways for college to study, like, for example, Cornell notes. And if you quiz yourself, the more you quiz yourself, the more
Can
you're
you
going to learn.
define Cornell notes?
So you fold your paper kind of like in half, and there's and one of the halves, like, you write your questions, and then on the other one you write the answer portion to the question, and then once you're ready to study, you can cover the answers and then try to answer them without looking at the answers. That's how I would do it.
Okay, that's really cute. I like that. Yeah. So there you hit on something else. You were in AP classes.
Yeah.
Right? And so you were always a bright young lady. You had to have been. You picked the cello. That's such a beautiful instrument. I love the cello. And there's so much literature for clarinet, cello, and piano. That's just stunning. That Dr. Vasquez and I, we've played some of those things. So if you ever want to play something, Nereida, I was just going to point out there's some Beethoven duos, right, that we can play. And so that's awesome. You played a duet with Christian last semester. What did you play?
We played it was for 3 cellos. I think that's what the piece was named by F. Kummer.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're doing another duet this semester.
Good. Yeah. I'm so glad you guys really enjoy yourselves.
Yes.
And so what is Christian now, because I'm going to ask him the same thing, right? What is Christian like as a stand partner? Be polite.
Did you ask me what
is he like as a stand partner?
What is he like?
Does he bring a pencil? She just smiled. She's like, no, I'm the one with the pencil. Okay. And does he, so everybody gets their copies. I would imagine, this is my guess, because I know Christian and I know you, and my guess is that you're already sitting down, you already have your music out, you've got your pencil out, and Christian arrives like Zach Morris on Saved by the Bell, right? Like, just take the cello out and jump in.
I would say that was probably him, the beginning.
Okay.
But now he's getting better. He's actually getting there on time. Yeah.
That's good.
And I still, I'm always the one with the music and the pencil, because we always share my music. But he's a really good leader. He's always leading me with the poems.
I like Christian because he's honest.
Yeah.
He really is. Yeah, and he won't sugarcoat, he won't add frosting to anything, because he will tell you exactly, you know what, I think this needs to go louder, and I think this needs to be softer. I think this, and he's very vocal about it. And that's the kind of musicians you want.
Yeah,
I think sometimes there's too much politeness between musicians, and then the music suffers for it. Because everybody's being so I don't want to hurt her feelings. And I've been in those rehearsals. Joy Zalkin is fantastic. She's amazing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Joy. This was many years ago at the University of Iowa. I remember I was sitting behind some flute players, and oh boy, I got chewed out by one because I suggested to her that she play a little bit louder in a certain spot where that she was sharp. I don't remember what it was. But, she took it personally. And I was like, you need to calm down. You need to rein all of that in right there. Because I'm just telling you, I've got my tuner right here. You're registering about 40 cents sharp on this note that we both have together. Anyway, musicians can be dramatic.
Yeah.
So that's really awesome. And so I saw Christian the other day, and like I said, I'm about to see him again in just a moment. And it's so funny to watch you all, because even though it's a 2-year degree, right, there's so much maturity that happens just overall to the person in those 2 years.
Oh yeah, a lot can change in a year.
I know, I know. And even just appearance-wise, I see you all. Now he's growing, like, I think he's got a beard going on, and, you know, I was like, okay. They come in, all of you come in fresh out of high school many times. And so you're very green, you know, and there's a kind of deer caught in the headlights look about all of you for semester. And then with time, you start to get really comfortable, well acquainted with everything. What is your advice to a cellist or a string player interested in our program?
I would say come talk to Dr. Vasquez or Mr. Castañeda. I feel like they would give you really good advice, and they are like, don't be nervous, because I was like that. Like, I came in not knowing much, and I did grow a lot. So I feel like you should talk to Dr. Vasquez and Mr. Castañeda. Yes,
absolutely. Yeah, and so you're absolutely right. I am the advisor, but then my knowledge is only so much. I can tell you what classes to take, and that's generally what I'll do. The first thing that happens, just to kind of go over it for everyone that's interested in our music program, you can show up to you should be able to show up to any one of our campuses, right? So Mission Del Paso, Valle Verde, RG, Trans Mountain, and Northwest. And you can go to the counselors and ask them, you know what, I'm interested in music. And they'll quickly point you to me, the faculty advisor, or you can just contact me directly. And my email is yflore14@epcc.edu. My extension is 2361. The phone number is 915-831-2361. And give me a call, leave me a message, and I will call you back either from my cell phone or from the office phone. And I can tell you if you want to come full-time, if you want to come part-time, how that is all broken up. And also so a few things, TSI scores is something I'm going to mention to you all out there. And those are more counselor issues, counselor questions, but those are things you have to be prepared with. And also, the other thing, here's the big one. I ask students, not only how many years have you been playing, but what their knowledge is on the instrument. Because sometimes folks have been playing 7-8 years, right? But they just played C major. The whole, you know what I mean? Or they're just not all that familiar with all the keys, all the minors, the majors, everything. And so I do like to kind of be more in depth. We offer applied lessons on the half hour and the full hour. The half hour is for those that need an introductory course. And so that's something that we offer, because some folks are pretty green, right? Yeah. And so they're still very new to it. So once you have an idea of what instrument you want to play, and if you want to come full-time, part-time, then we can pull together a schedule for you, and I will send that over. If you're a first-time in college student, we have a department called First Year Experience that you'll want to familiarize yourself with, and of course, that contact is Sandra Lujan. I specifically work with Nereida Rueda, who is a counselor there. Did you ever work with Nereida?
No.
Oh, okay. But did you go through FYE when you first got here, the First Year Experience?
No.
Okay.
But I did look at the music program. So,
okay. Yeah, so you found one of our bookmarks probably. And so, so the First Year Experience is great for incoming brand new freshmen. If you're a returning student, then you want to go to the counselor's office and just double check your background paperwork. Also shots, that's another big one for the admissions office. I didn't know the shots went to the admissions office. Did they ask you for shots?
No. I didn't even know that was the thing.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. I don't know if some of these might be new policies.
Maybe, yeah.
Because one day a girl walked up to me and she had her shot record. And I was in the AST. And I'm just sitting there minding my business, right? And she's like, I've got my shots. I was like, oh, Good.
Yeah.
You know, she's not contagious, everyone, right? I'm just like, okay. So, and I found out it's admissions that you take that too. So I learned too.
Yeah.
That was very funny. You're going to become a music. Where do you want to work?
Probably in the Socorro.
You want to do Socorro?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm putting it out there for you. All right. This is a favor to you, Nereida, and everyone out there. Listen, Nereida wants a job in SISD. Okay. Hint, hint. Because that starts when you're at UTEP and you do your student teaching, right? Somebody might request you. If you're really on top of it, you really know what you're doing, right? The director may contact UTEP and go, who do you have that's almost ready? And they'll say, oh, we have Nereida, who's a cello player. Oh, perfect. Send her my way, right? Okay. So Nereida Rueda wants to teach at SISD and possibly student teach eventually at SISD. Yes. And so just putting that out there for all the folks watching, right? And also, and then what? Have you thought about that?
No.
No, a decade will go by in the blink of an eye. And so I suggest that you start to really plan what you're going to do, right? Where you're going to perform. Are you going to play with EPSO? Do you want to play with the symphony?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Start thinking about that. Look at auditions, right? And you're going to teach. You're going to play with EPSO. Start thinking about where you're going to live, what you want to do with your life, what you want to do on the side, et cetera, right?
Yes.
Never too early. Never too early for all of you out there. Nereida, thank you for coming on the show.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yes, you're so sweet. I look forward to, and don't you forget me, okay?
I won't.
Don't forget us here at EPCC. And we're so grateful for having you as a student, and you're so kind. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of you out there enjoying yourselves. And please send your grandkids, your sons, daughters to EPCC. Check out my contact information if you have any questions. Thanks again. Bye, everybody.